What? Oh, I forgot to plug... I put the headphones on my head, but I forgot to plug the headphones in.
Oh, I did that earlier.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Punches game. Fuck, go in the hole! I've had to yell that a few times in my life. Right, I was talking about penises. Testicles and penis.
Hey, 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 time to put your metal to the test now. Hey, 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 don't you know you're messing with the best now?
Howdy, y'all! Welcome to Podquisition. I'm your host for the day, Chicken Scratch O'Houlihan. I'm here with my familiar ranch hand, Conrad Joanne Gummidge.
Howdy.
Howdy. I'm also here with the girl who puts the lingerie on the animals. How are you, Laura Kate Fields and Dales?
Oh, howdy.
Howdy. Now, it never ceases to amaze me how you managed to design a brassiere for the cow's udders.
I mean, you've really got to think about how to get one cup, but like space for many nipples.
Your innovations in farm animal lingerie has really helped me milk the pigs,
So to speak.
Well, I mean, it's man pig milk from my own private reserves. I'm not fucking any of the animals. If that's what you were wondering, it's all above board. I just like to have jars of pig semen. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
As just taking everyone on a little trip to Balboo's farm. I'm sort of optioning the idea to Peacock as maybe a sitcom, situation comedy. Obviously, the spin-off show to The Office, starring Dwight Schrute, The Farm, never made it.
That was a terrible idea in theory, in execution, and yet I still kind of wish they'd gone forward with that.
Oh, I'd have watched it.
Yeah.
I'd have watched it. But, there's a gap in the market. Balboo's Farm.
There we go.
Gonna get right in there. We'll get a cameo from the actual man who milks the pigs. Someone we all know very well. He's called Jonathan, and he was on Road Rules Northern Trail. And he can check the various animals and me for ass parasites. Brown crawlers and the like.
My cat's got one of them right now.
Your cat's got a case of the brown crawlers?
Well, a roundworm. Yeah. Tater's got worms.
Oh, no.
We gotta give him another pill in like another week, I think.
no.
But the mites in his ears are all gone, so making progress. Yeah.
Well, that's it. It's good to get those out because sometimes they whisper commands to kill.
Oh yeah, no, it's not good.
That's what Berkowitz actually had, was ear mites. Like they were posing as his dog.
Yeah, it's what's going on every time that your cat's just staring into the middle distance at nothing nothing particular, but very intently. It's because they're busy listening to the whispered instructions of the mites.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I've got 2 bits of actual business.
You got business?
Yeah. Before we recorded, I thought to myself, I could start off with the big, exciting news that means a ton to my career, and I'm really excited to share with everyone, and is a huge deal, and is really good to open the show with. Or I could insinuate, outright state that Laura designs lingerie for farm animals.
Look, I think you made the right choice.
I think so too. I think I made the right call.
Yeah.
I think I made the just call, the moral call, if we're going to argue from a philosophical standpoint. But I do have, some wonderful news I can't wait to share regarding my career outside of games media. And I want to talk about some bullshitter, some utter weapon on Facebook who took great offence to my something capitalism bad t-shirt.
Oh.
It's amazing. People are so stupid. People who defend capitalism are so stupid. But anyway, the big news is, and I've been sitting on this for a little while, like eager to share it, is Sovereign Pro Wrestling, the Manchester-based promotion run by Shoddy Horror, that I debuted with a little while ago, where I faced Kid Bandit and Simon Miller. Their next show is February 5th, and they are putting me in a triple threat match against Shreddy, who's legitimately like Mr. Britain, like in the bodybuilding scene, which is already pretty cool, and Attitude Era WWF legend Scotty 2 Hottie. I don't expect every listener, of course, to understand what that is, but like I grew up watching Scotty 2 Hottie as part of the Too Cool tag team, and like I fucking loved Too Cool.
I was never a huge wrestling person, but I am aware of them from when my older brother used to watch wrestling, and I was forbidden from watching, but would still kind of watch. I don't know much about wrestling. I know them.
Yeah, they were famous for dancing, not always at appropriate times, like in the middle of a Royal Rumble. Scotty 2 Hottie and Grandmaster Sexay would dance with their friend Rikishi. I've been studying GIFs of Rikishi dancing, just in case a dance breaks out, and I've got to bust a move. Scotty 2 Hottie was also famous for doing the worm. He would like do a bulldog to like knock someone to the ground, get very excited, hop on one leg 4 times while everyone in the crowd went W-O-R-M, and then he'd do that belly worm movement thing, and then just like hit them. It was the actual offense part. It was like the people's elbow, like it was shit, but the spectacle of it was amazing. So I'm going to be practicing that as well. Obviously, I'm going to have to practice not just dancing, but the worm, because I'm going to bust it out. Of course I am. Anyway, that is massive. I'm blown away by the opportunity that Sovereign has been giving me. A few months ago, a wrestling promoter told me that I didn't belong, that I wasn't good enough a wrestler to even be on the same card as Shreddy, on the same show as Scotty 2 Hottie, and now I'm in the same fucking match. I'm immensely proud of that.
That's what you should be.
Yeah, so if you can get to Manchester on February 5th, their tickets are available at sovereignprowrestling.com/tickets. And that'll be for their next show, Heavy is the Head. Yeah, so very exciting. I navigated away from the Facebook page, but long-time viewers of the Jimquisition will know that one of our regular catchphrases is something capitalism bad, which is true.
It is. It's very true.
Capitalism bad.
Yeah.
It's a bad thing.
Yeah, and because capitalism is a system we're all trapped in and have to abide by, we sell merch at thejimporium.com, and we actually have a t-shirt of something capitalism bad. I was feeling very cute today, so I took a photo of myself, and I happened to be wearing it. So I thought I'd take that opportunity to, draw attention to the shirt. And then Billy Nope on Facebook hit out with just like, beautiful yet you participate in society energy.
Yeah.
Then why are you using Facebook, if and YouTube, if you don't support capitalism? Doesn't make a lick of sense. If you want to support communism, just go work for free and use the government to provide a living situation for you. Seems logical.
I mean, yeah, it does if that existed. If that system were in place, sure.
If you wish to not exist under capitalism, simply exist under not capitalism.
Yeah.
Now, in fairness to this person's argument, which I do think is dog shit.
Don't worry, by the way, he's got more comments.
Oh, good.
But yes, in fairness.
I've started producing a live stream called Red Planet on Twitch.
Right.
Which Sophie from Mars and Kira Chats, DJ Mule, Conquest of Dread, talking about political issues. And the whole purpose of it is to get people more engaged in direct action.
Mm-hmm.
And they had some guests on this past week. One of them was the co-founder of the the Clandestine Insurgent Rebel Clown Army.
Mm-hmm.
This was a group of dissident protesters who were, during the George W. Bush administration, were disrupting events as clowns. And they have been, for the last, 10 years, living in an occupied zone in France to prevent the building of an airport. And they are living their best fucking lives outside of capitalism on this commune.
So, you are correct, but also very clearly not what Billy Nope was on about, which is just make the government give you a not capitalism.
Right.
They'll look after you. Make them look after you.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it's just the classic fucking, self-demonstration of that webcomic that goes around, that we should improve society somewhat, and a bloke going, and yet you participate in it. Curious. These people are so fucking blinkered and dumb that they don't understand that we have to abide by the system we're trapped in.
I mean, I think a lot of it speaks. I don't like to think that these people are dumb. Right? I think that they lack imagination. Right? They lack the capacity to imagine a world that isn't the one that they already live in.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say of certainly some of them.
I mean, I want to give these people the benefit of the doubt that they're not monsters or, something else, because otherwise I couldn't get up in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as Billy Nope says, I love capitalism. It gives me the ability to take care of my family and claim ownership of my own labour. It's easy to criticise and hate capitalism when you live in it, just as it's easy to criticise communism when you live in a capitalist society, but there's no dissent in China against communism because it's not allowed. Little emoji of a red circle with a line through it.
Wait, I'm sorry, huh? Did that make sense? Was that grammatically cogent?
No, it's all one sentence.
Okay, because I got lost somewhere in there, and I now have no clue what the fuck they're talking about.
I'm betting you got lost around the same point I did. The capitalism allows me to claim the rewards of my fucking labor.
Oh, I mean, that was humorous, but I think it was a little further on because he kept going on about. Okay, fine, whatever.
I'm halfway through the sentence. Nor are the citizens of China allowed to leave if they dislike their country. You, however, can if you so choose to. By all means, keep criticising it. I will keep praising it as I make 45k a year with a smile on my face and a family that loves me. I hope you guys find and put out love in this world. It certainly needs it. OBJ?
Does he know that China's not communist? Does he know that?
No.
Oh. Well then. Kind of a problem.
Welcome to Podquisition. We talk about video games here sometimes. Who's played one of them? Not Conrad. Conrad's played fucking nothing this week.
I played no video game. Well, I played Fallout, but who cares?
Well, I guess it's me and Steph to start with then.
Yeah, well, we've played two games on the list we've both played.
Do you want to pick one to start with?
I guess let's get the biggie out the way. I would argue that God of War Ragnarok is a sort of a bigger deal than Sonic Frontiers.
I think so. At this point, I have basically finished that game.
Okay. I started it today. I've just gotten to the bit where you get on the boat.
Okay, yeah,
Which, very much like the first game, is where it really sort of shines, is when you're just on the boat, going to little optional areas.
So 2 to 3 hours in, maybe.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
So far, it's more God of War.
Yep.
From a gameplay standpoint. I'm fine with that.
Yep.
No real complaints there, although the bosses I've fought so far move so fast, and differentiating between the yellow circles and the red circles for you can parry this and you have to dodge this. Sometimes I'm just a little overwhelmed. But it's fine. The combat is still really sort of, overall, the combat is still really tight and well produced, very, very tactile in terms of how it feels. I'm liking the story so far.
Yeah.
The performances, they've got really good voice actors. I really like Thor.
Thor's great.
Looks good, despite all the complaints from gamers about, Gamers TM about him being too fat. No, he's that's proper, strongman size.
Yeah, that's deadlift bodybuilder build.
Yeah, he looks fucking awesome. I also really like Odin.
Yes.
Like, the one scene I've seen him in is this sort of, like, shifty sort of wheeler-dealer type of guy. Like, I like that.
And can I say, I really, really like the scene that Odin and Thor are introduced in.
Yeah.
I think it's a really fun energy for this version of Kratos, and, like, I have so many thoughts about that scene and the way that it's acted and framed and, like, little things are delivered in it. It's really good. Yeah, here's what I'll say about where you're at right now. The opening, I'd say probably 4 hours of this game, is very, this is more 2018 God of War. And that's not a bad thing. 2018 God of War is a very good game, this is more of it. About 4 hours in, you are going to hit a point that is very obvious, and you'll go, oh, we're doing this. And that's the point where the game starts opening up mechanically and narratively to be more than, here is the continued adventures of Kratos hits things with a big axe, and also his son is there.
Yeah.
Now that the game's, like, out, I feel like I can talk a bit more openly, and, like, I'm gonna stay very spoiler light here, but I think it's fair to say, what I think God of War Ragnarok does better than anything else, as a follow-up to the 2018 game, is it really presents a vision that this series could be more than just Kratos continues to go fight gods. And that is happening over and over. It opens up this world to other kinds of stories and other kinds of mechanics that I'm interested by.
Mm-hmm. And I also think, like, what I appreciate about this and the last game over the original games is the original games, the gods didn't really have much of an original spin to them. They were sort of just, for the most part, just, I am God. I am a Greek god. I am somewhat antagonistic or aloof.
Yes.
Whereas with this game, with Ragnarok and the predecessor, the various takes on the Norse gods are a lot more original.
Yes. And I think more than anything, like, Ragnarok really, as you get further in, really excels at that, at giving you a lot of time to get to know antagonists in a way that makes them a lot better rounded out. There is a lot of getting to see various characters outside of just, it's time for me to fight you now.
Yeah.
And I very much appreciate that added. There's a lot more added context to the world in this. You get to see a lot more day-to-day life of people who aren't the gods in this world peppered through, and I think that really helps a lot of regards.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, tonally and creatively, like, this game it's hitting the right notes for me. Hitting the right notes.
The other thing I didn't really talk about last week with it that I want to give some attention to is, and I know that the 2018 God of War did this to a degree, but I think that Ragnarok has really excelled at it, is the side quest content in this game feels as big budget and important and dedicated to as the main story content. I have found a lot of side quests in this game that are fully voice acted, with, like, regular dialogue throughout the side quest, with original assets, like locations that don't feel like copy-paste from other ones you've seen, that tie into other side quests around the world. While doing side quests, I never felt like I was doing content that was lesser than following the main progression path, and that has been really nice.
Yeah.
Like, they've put a lot of work into making sure that if you decide to go do a side quest, it's going to feel as important as main content. And that has really bolstered my overall opinion of my time with it.
Yeah. No disagreement from me on any of that. It's fucking quality so far.
Yeah.
I was curious as to how much, because the last game was such a dramatic change, tonally and mechanically in many ways, from the original series. I was curious as to how much of the shine would not be on this one. from like me feeling like I've seen it all before. And it's, it's not quite the revelation the last one was, because I'm familiar with the game's tone and mechanics now, but it's really strong. It's still really strong.
What I will say again, though, is where you are at right now, I understand feeling that way. I think that give it a few more hours and you're going to hit a point where it is going to start going... It's going to start capturing some of that I haven't seen this before. And I think it doesn't outstay its welcome being more 2018 God of War before it gets on with other things. Yeah, I think that game gets better the further you go in it. It starts pretty good and it goes from strength to strength, I think.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to playing more of it.
Yeah, I am really, really happy with it.
Excellent.
Should we talk about the other thing we've both played this week?
Ah, yeah. This one. This one is interesting.
I am so ready to talk about this fucking mess.
Sonic Frontiers, a game that decided long before it had any ideas to justify it that it was going to be an open world game, and has clearly preoccupied itself with trying to validate that presumptuous decision. I started playing this game thinking, this ain't too bad. This is I'm enjoying the sort of environmental puzzling. It's kind of laid back and chill. I fought the first main boss last night.
Oh, okay, yeah, that boss fight's fucking...
The finger-breaking, migraine-inducing, confusing, visually confusing, borderline incomprehensible fucking mess.
What if Dragon Ball Z, but you had to button mash and there was an impossibly short timer?
Yeah. And the camera can't keep up with it. And Sonic keeps, losing track of the targeting.
What's the parry timing for this giant fist?
Yeah, it's... I mean, to its credit, there's no timing on parrying, probably because they realised that the game is so fucking incomprehensible that it wouldn't be fair at all. It's a mess. There is something to be said for just wandering around, going on loop-de-loops and stuff without any real pressure. There is something to be said for that. I'm not having too bad a time with that, but all too often I am exasperated by how easily confused this game gets by itself. I was fighting a sort of sub-boss, sort of a fish that goes in the sand.
Yeah.
And you have to lock onto its tail and sort of, home in on it with a lock-on attack.
Oh, yes. The one where you've got to, be hook-shotted on the tail of it and get dragged around.
Hook shot on the tail and then do a shitty QTE. The fish jumped up in the air.
Yeah.
Now was my time to shine. And the fishtail was highlighted. I pressed the lock-on attack button, and Sonic leapt behind himself to grab something else that it had locked onto at the last second. Because this game's homing jump and attack buttons are the same fucking button, and at times it makes me, if there's a platforming section that's taken me ages to get to because the camera is terrible at showing me where to jump, and Sonic's physics, as usual, are not designed for finicky platforming, and I'm terrified to fall off the fucking ledge of wherever I finally ended up. And there are springs that are gonna catapult me off of my hard-fought destination, and something to hit. I have to be so fucking careful to not accidentally send Sonic homing in on the fucking springs.
So everything you've said is true. I'm gonna say something, and you're gonna have to just go with me for a second. This game is absolutely fucking terrible in every single regard, and I'm having a great time with it. I'm having a great time in spite of everything about it. I'm not having a good time because of any individual element.
Yeah.
It is exactly the kind of dopamine factory my brain is currently craving, despite being a terribly made, janky game with zero idea of what it wants to be, ambitions way above its ability to actually execute them. Like, the best way I can try and explain this game to people who haven't played it is to try and compare and contrast it to, like, the comparison I think everyone kind of makes to it, which is, like, if you think about something like Breath of the Wild, strip out all context and pretense that this is a world that people would live in. Just strip out all of that. Replace Korok seeds that were these things that you stumbled upon and they were kind of rewarding because you found them completely by accident. Replace them with Korok, with similar little challenges, but they're highlighted by fucking holograms that go, hey, there's a Korok seed thing here, come look, work it out.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus bosses that some of them...
Oh my god.
Look, any of them that require you to run up the legs of the boss are broken as hell and are not well designed, but when they work, they do feel really fucking cool.
I've been pressing the share button on my controller to get clips of, like, whenever, like, I've got to run up the side of a big robot.
And you got to run through the little boosts.
And the little boost. And Sonic will just suddenly, like...
fall?
Fly off.
Yeah.
He'll just fly off to the right.
Yeah.
Like, and zoom away. Or the camera will just sort of, like, spin round wildly and I'll lose my sense of direction. Or the other one he does where, like, you go up the limb and then he just shoots 3 miles up into the fucking sky.
Yeah. So, all of this is true. Replace shrine puzzles with classic Sonic levels. I'll say for those, they're fairly short Sonic levels with objectives to do, and they're quick to retry if you didn't do all the objectives. I kind of like them.
And they're fine. They're not too bad. There's a couple, because it's a Sonic game, and they're incapable of doing a Sonic game without at least a few levels that make me fucking scream.
Oh, yeah, no.
There was one I played last night, like, set in, like, a city thing, and it was so stupidly laid out. But, for the most part, the traditional Sonic levels are short and generally sweet.
The dialogue is fucking hilarious.
Oh my god.
In that so many of the cutscenes boil down to, I'm going to have a very serious conversation. Sonic, we need to understand how you're able to hop in and out of these worlds. The fate of existence relies on it. How are you doing this? And Sonic just being like, I don't know, I guess I'm really cool. See you later.
Chili dog.
He is not engaging with the plot at all, and it's so dissonant, I can't help but kind of enjoy it.
His voice is weird.
Yeah.
Because it's deeper than usual, and it makes him sound like regular, like the old Sonic voice is just drunk. It throws me off. I also like that, like, you talk about dialogue. The first map, the first area.
Yes.
Why is the entire quest line just finding Amy 12 times to have a short cutscene, then fucking off?
No, you forget, you've got to bring her memory hearts, and then she'll tell you like 5 more words, and then she'll bugger off again.
This has confused me as well.
Yeah.
Because I've collected a bunch of hearts to unlock cutscenes with Amy.
Yeah.
I've collected a bunch of keys to unlock traditional Sonic levels.
Yeah.
But every time I go to either a door for a level or go to Amy, it says items required 0. And it's always 0. As if I don't need them.
I can tell you what it means if that's happened. Or at least my best guess is that...
is it saying that I don't need any more?
You went and did enough stuff in the world that you already have enough to trigger this.
God, that was confusing because I'm so used to games telling me, like, if I've amassed, like, half a dozen keys and this one only needs 3 keys, I'm used to it telling me I need 3 keys so that I know that it's 3 out of the 16 I've already got, not that I don't need any more.
I had a similarly confusing moment where Amy was telling me she needed 7 memory hearts and I had 9 in my pocket and I couldn't work out why it wouldn't work, and I was like, oh, I need 7 more, I guess.
It's fucking stupid.
But, like, here's the thing. Like, it's all bullshit. It's a bad game. But when I'm in there, running around, letting my fucking ADHD latch onto any sparkly thing I see in the distance, and suddenly I'm flying off rails and doing loops and running up walls and bouncing around, and I got coins, and I picked up a thing and it sparkled and told me I did good. I'm having a good time with this bad game.
Yeah, I fully understand that. Like, I'm not feeling exactly the same way. but it's one of those games where obviously it's bad,
Yeah.
but I completely understand why someone would love it in spite of that.
It's one of those things where I'm like, I can acknowledge it is a bad game. I wouldn't recommend it to people. But I'm having more fun with it than I have with a 3D Sonic game in a while.
It's better than Sonic Colors.
It's one of those Sonic games, and we've talked about this before. Like, this is one of the Sonic games where I genuinely look at this and go, if you were to make a sequel,
Yeah.
rather than throwing this concept in the fucking bin the second that it isn't received amazingly.
I'm thinking of doing the next Jimquisition on that. Like,
Yeah.
because I've pointed it out before as well. They never stick to the program and refine an idea.
Like, we've had this before. Like, what was the one that was like the Mario Galaxy-esque one?
Sonic Lost World.
Like, that's a great
Yeah.
example of one that was like, yeah, it had its problems, but it was a really promising idea.
Yeah, a lot of people think that game, a lot of people say that game's shit. A lot of people hated
No.
Lost World. I liked it. I
Yeah.
reviewed it back in the day, and I said, as far back then, I said, if they do another one of these, they can get it good.
This is what I want to be clear about with Frontiers. I think that there is genuinely like a fun concept here. And I think that if they don't just throw it away and they take on board feedback and they actually, work on polishing it, polishing the idea, you could have a good game here.
Yeah, but I don't have faith. I don't have faith that they won't just reinvent the wheel again.
I have zero faith in them, like particularly with like a big open thing like this that
Yeah.
I don't see them giving it another go if it doesn't get good reviews out the gate, but like it's got promise.
Here's the thing on that. It depends how expensive this actually was to make, because I've seen allegations, and I've still got to look into it. So I'm not going to present this as something I necessarily believe yet. But there is a video that I was made aware of where someone basically points out that allegedly a lot of the open world is made up of Unreal Engine assets.
I've seen the allegations. I don't know how true or not they are.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they turned out to be true.
That's my stance, is I'm not going to say it's true, but it looks like it. That's the thing. Whether it's true or not, it looks like it's cobbled together from pre-built assets.
I wouldn't be surprised if it were true, other than, if it's true, I really would have thought that they'd have made the bespoke stuff, like running up the boss fight legs, polished, because they'd have had the ability to do that.
You'd think
Because
so.
they had nothing else they would need to be working on, you'd think.
You'd think so, but then, like, a lot of the problems this game has are problems the games have always had.
Yeah.
Like Sonic's physics that are just sort of messy, the camera that can't keep up with the speed of it, the fact that I don't trust that Sonic won't fall off something or fly off something. This game, the Sonic series, has not fostered that kind of trust in me in a long time. So yeah, like, you'd think they'd work on polishing that, but they've had decades now to fix some of this shit. But what I will say with regards to, like, it doesn't matter ultimately, for the purposes of discussing the game's lack of artistic cohesion, it doesn't matter whether they're using Unreal assets or not, insofar as it just fucking looks like it. Sonic doesn't look like he belongs in this world, and I think the whole idea that, like, the levels take place in cyberspace and shit, I think that is, like, narrative wallpaper over the lack of artistic cohesion. So they can turn around and say, but Sonic's not meant to look like he belongs in this world, because he doesn't. Fuck off with that. He looks wrong, and all of it looks wrong, because you've got this, for want of a better word, quote-unquote, realistic terrain that's kind of drab, like brown deserts and just grassy cliffs with nothing really going on in them. Nothing in terms of like, life. Like, it feeling vibrant or like a living, breathing world. It's populated by, like, 2 NPCs and these little, like, rip-offs of the Kakairi from Wind Waker.
Yeah.
And all the enemies are, like, robots that look like they're from the Battlestar Galactica reboot. So they're already lacking in sort of personality. But they look like they don't belong in this world. Sonic looks like cartoon Sonic. So that's completely visually dissonant with the game's terrain. And then you've got things like the cartoony springs and the traditional Sonic grind rails and the speed up, the boost pads. And it looks like they were just thrown in willy-nilly. Like, you've just got grind rails floating in the air for no reason that don't look like they belong. It's a complete, like, visual soup.
None of it has any cohesion whatsoever, and I've kind of been having fun. And it is what it is.
Oh, I'm not, like, putting anyone on trial for liking it.
I'm not accusing you of doing so like that. I'm just summarizing my opinion, which is every aspect of it is bad, and I just kind of keep playing it.
Yeah. And, like, I'm sorry, like, I could talk about this. I might play it for my live stream tonight. I was trying to decide whether I want to have fun and play God of War on my stream, or play this, but, like, I've got so much to say about this.
Yeah, I've been having the same question mark. I was like, I had been planning to stream Vampire Survivors on stream and try out the Twitch integration stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I will do that. I might stream Sonic Frontiers tonight because I just want to talk about this weird game.
Because I also want to point out that, like, as fucking infuriating as this game is, and as much as I've just been yelling to Sonic, like, just land on the fucking platform, you fucking prat. I never call people or things prats. This game's got me using the word prat and pillock, because that's just the contempt I have for Sonic. Those are the politically correct words I'm using for him anyway.
Oh, I forgot I have to talk about a thing that really annoyed me. And you started with it, but I need to go into specifics on it. That fucking that fucking boss fight. You got all the Chaos Emeralds, you're Super Sonic, you're going to go do the boss fight. So, the gimmick is that you can't take damage, you are invincible, but your ring counter is constantly running down, and when it runs out, you die, so you gotta be quick to beat the boss. Problem is, if you lose the boss fight, because you're not warned in advance, go in with max rings. You need, like, hundreds of rings.
Yeah, the lack of warning is such a fuck you. When you're supersonic, why doesn't it max out your rings for you?
Yeah, so it doesn't warn you you're going to enter a boss fight where you need, like, maxed out rings so that you have time to do the fight. So you're probably going to lose your first attempt. Then it respawns you with, regardless of how many you went in with, it starts you with 50 coins on a restart. So I had to go spend, like, the first, 3 minutes of the boss fight running around in circles on the floor, finding and generating coins to have full coins before I could even start the fight. 3 or 4 minutes before the fight even started was me just running around on the floor going, okay, let's get rings. Okay, now I can fight it.
That's how you get guaranteed rings in this game, is their Psyloop thing, where you basically draw a circle as you run round, and then if you do that, you can activate certain things or like weaken certain enemies by running around them, and that's kind of cool. But, like, having to grind to do it for rings is such a chore.
I mean, I appreciate that you can get rings that way. I don't appreciate having fights that expect you to do that a bunch of times to get them.
Yes. And the thing is like, if you can just do that without challenge, you can just max out your rings. Make it quicker, because it's not making it more difficult, it's just making it boring.
Have something like do a figure of 8 and that maxes out your rings. It's slightly more complicated than the circle, but it gives you a bunch more, so if you're not rushed for time, there you go, you got all your rings. Yeah. Some shit like that.
Something like that. I've got more to say.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Because I was on a track before I ended up talking about how infuriating the game is again. But as infuriating as the game is, I do have positives to say. I don't love it like you, but I understand what you're liking because I'm liking those elements too.
I want to be clear. I'm not loving it. I'm having a good time with it. I don't.
Okay, yeah, important distinction.
Yeah, I very specifically, I am frustrated by all of these things too, and I have a very love-hate relationship with it. I'm having a great time.
Yes.
Not loving it.
I'm with you on a lower tier of feeling.
Yeah. I feel like we fundamentally have the same thoughts, even if where we've landed emotionally is a little different.
Yeah, like when it's working,
Yeah.
when I'm not yelling at it, getting around the world is pretty fun. And solving like the environmental puzzles, mostly the stuff where you're just sort of like navigating various rails and various jumps through loops and things to get to, random shit that's just floating in the sky. I like that. I even like some of the puzzles, even though it dawned on me after about an hour that half the game is radio towers. Like, they're just
God, yeah.
different versions of an Ubisoft game's, like, radio tower obsession. Like, all you're doing is the same few tasks over and over again to open up the map, reveal the map.
It is an awful lot of, here's some flames, run around them so they're put out. Here's a circular treadmill, run on it really fast. Run up that big tall tower and get to the top. It is a lot of that. It is a lot of that.
But some of them can be fun.
Yeah.
There's too much of it. I hate that, like, when you complete it, you then just gotta sit through a laborious cutscene of the map opening up and revealing a bit of the map. I'm like, let me skip that shit. I'm having to do this so many times.
Some of the original ones are kind of fun. Like, there's a couple I remember from that first world where it's like, those little Korok knockoffs where it's like, hey, I had to shepherd a bunch of them towards a goal, and there were bombs. I
hated that.
Oh, I like that one. I like the one where you had to cut all the grass with your side loops. Some of those, I was like, you're doing.
I hate those. The Amy minigames. I hate them.
Were you not enjoying the Amy minigames?
I was not.
Well.
Oh, I was not. I'm sure there's more.
I mean, there are some in there that are not just the same thing you've done a bunch of times.
Another thing I do want to sort of give the game credit for is one of my issues with other Sonic games is because it's so obsessively focused on speed, which I always thought was a misconception or a misinterpretation of the original games. I've always argued that the fans who are like, this game isn't fast enough, like,
yeah,
must be younger fans that don't really appreciate the originals. Not to sound too smug and smarmy about it, but like, that's not my experience. When I play the old Sonic games, it was never about going fast. That was a reward for certain sections, but it wasn't the point of the game.
Yeah, if you were skilled enough that you could, create a flow state through a level, or if you had firm enough memory of where everything was going to be and what your timing was, then sure, then it was very fast. But that was what you got for good play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, one of the ways in which gameplay suffered as a result of this obsession with speed was combat was so trivial because it wanted to be done. I don't even know why it was there in so many of these games, because combat consists of treating robots the same way you treat balloons in these games.
Yeah, it's fucking homing bounce. It's just homing bounce, homing bounce, homing bounce.
Home in, home in, home in to travel along a thing. And it's like, the enemies might as well just be more of the balloons.
Yeah.
And I never found that too satisfying. So one thing this game does, there are quite a few enemies like that.
Yeah.
Only more annoying because they surround you, because in the open world, it's not like the linear racetrack. So there'll be enemies from off camera. You're homing in on a bunch of them, then you'll get hit from off camera by the fucker you can't home in on because he's not on screen. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked from praise to complain again. I do like that quite a few of the enemies actually have health, and you actually have something approaching a combat system. It's still relatively simple. There's still, like, the basics of it is locking on, homing in, and bashing a button. But certain enemies have tactics, and you have a suite of offensive moves that you can sort of unlock as you play. Like it makes the game kind of brainless, but it's kind of an audio-visual satisfaction to do the one where you start hitting an enemy and then midway through your combo you just hold a trigger button and Sonic jumps back and just does like Chun-Li's like 1,000 fucking like foot kick, just sending like kicking shockwaves rapid fire. There's something very satisfying about that. And then there are some sort of clever encounters, like the enemies that are big springs that bounce and try and crush you, and then they stop just long enough for you to bounce on top of it, spring up, and then do a ground pound to finish them off. That's neat.
Yeah.
I like that they've expanded the combat system, and it works for the smaller enemies. Anything that's large scale is a pain in the fucking ass. But for the smaller enemies and stuff, it's actually kind of cool, and I like that combat isn't trivial.
The other thing I like is I like that the going at speed is on a toggle. It's a button, so it's not like the default. But I like that in the open world, cool, it is good for crossing distances, getting around. In those like individual little levels, because they're so short and isolated and you can just retry the one level, if there's a level that's got an objective to do it fast, you can do it not at speed, get the other collectibles, learn your route, then jump back in and do it quick. And I'm like, cool, yeah, that is good execution of having the ability to go fast in a Sonic game.
Yeah. One other criticism is, like, the game gives you a lot to do, like, control-wise, and I keep forgetting. Like, the first time I fought the big first main boss, I did not know how to avoid its big swinging punch because dodging did nothing. And then I remembered, oh yeah, there's a parry button.
Yes.
You just hold the two bumpers and he blocks and then will automatically parry. And I'm like, oh yeah, there is that.
There's not a lot of enemies that required you to use it prior to that.
Yes, it's very easy to forget things.
Yeah, I think the only other time I used it prior to that was that boss fight on the sort of like robot snake that flies through the sky and you're running on the
that
trail.
Fucking thing.
When I eventually caught up with it, I used the parry to not miss my opportunity to fucking deal all the damage once I caught it.
I did not know how to fight that thing because visually I looked at it and was like, okay, it's got a big glowy path flowing behind it. I jump on the path and run to its head, which is how you fight it.
Yeah.
But so many times I tried to jump on that path and jumped through it that I thought I was getting it wrong. I'd actually gotten it right. The game was getting it wrong. And eventually I worked it out. Because I had to work it out because I got so sick of it interrupting me when I was trying to explore things. And I didn't know that when that big floaty manta ray fucker had spotted you and the music changed, you couldn't do anything else. You couldn't interact with anything. So I spent ages on a particularly annoying platforming section where it was really easy to fall and lose all your progress and have to start again. And I did it, and I did it. I was banging my head against the brick wall and finally made my way to it. And it was, I think it was like a Chaos Emerald or something. And I couldn't get it, and I didn't know why. I couldn't get it after fighting my whole way there. And it was because that big robot had seen me, and that took over all the other mechanics. And I did not know that, and I was so fucking confused. And, oh god, this game, there really is something to it, but the ultimate problem with this game is they wanted an open world Sonic game, but didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know.
I am deeply fascinated by whatever process led to this game existing in the form it does.
Like, it reeks of, and I've seen games, like Anthem, to draw an unusual distinction, or example. Anthem, we all know how that game was developed now, and it started with BioWare bigwigs saying, we want a live service. They didn't have an idea for what the game was. At least Sonic's got that over Anthem in that they at least knew it'd be a fucking Sonic game. But BioWare started from, their starting position was live service. And then they had to contrive a game around it. And it showed. Sonic Frontiers reeks of a game in which the developers started with open world Sonic and then had to contrive a whole bunch of ideas to justify it. And didn't do a great job.
Yeah. Anyway, we're nearly an hour in.
God, we talked so much about that.
We did. Should we crack through a couple of other games? Because I know we got a couple of other ones to rattle through. I can get through this one in like a couple of minutes.
Okay.
I've finished New Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah.
Never have I ever experienced a game where I have so wildly swung back and forth between thinking it is amazing and fucking terrible. And I think I can summarize why that is pretty succinctly. I think that generally the characters are fantastically written. I really enjoyed their story. I was very emotionally invested in the fate of these lovable idiots trying to stop capitalism from inventing a gun that can kill you and then bring you back to life to kill you again until you're subservient. I was like, yeah, that's a neat concept. You've got lovable, endearing characters I want to follow along with. The problems I can't overlook largely stem from the final episode. And it largely stems from the game throwing its own rules out the window in ways that are far too frustrating for me to look past.
Yeah.
This entire series of episodes, this narrative adventure, centers on a single MacGuffin with very clear powers. It is a glowy rock from space that can heal things, and its healing powers are basically unlimited. You can literally bring people back from the dead. You can get people to regrow missing limbs as they're bleeding out. You can bring people back to the dead who've been shot in the head. Like, literally no amount of healing that this thing cannot do. And generally through the story, they have really interesting applications and uses, and like they use it as a very effective MacGuffin. The problem being, there is one scene in the final episode where that MacGuffin doesn't work, and it's never explained why, because they want a character to die, and so they ignore the fact that the crystal that can literally bring you back to life if you've been shot through the head and your brain's been exploded can still bring you back to life. It just doesn't this one time. And that's particularly galling, considering it is a sapphic queer character, a queer female character, who they've just made a big deal of bringing back into the narrative in a really nice, really well thought through way. It was a really big surprise. It was really wonderful. And then they just fucking kill her off, and for no justifiable reason, the MacGuffin doesn't work this time, I guess, but bye!
Oh,
and
okay.
that really fucked me off.
Yeah.
And then secondly, so this game's ending system is bad when it functions as it's meant to, but also is buggy and doesn't function how it's meant to. So let me tell you first about the experience I had. The endings you get in New Tales from the Borderlands are not based on cumulative choices you made throughout your adventure. They are not made by individual choices putting you on a path towards an ending. All of your choices you make are quietly ranked in the background as, are they making you better or worse friends with some other character in the party? And it's not, did you do badly at one set of relationships? Is one of those sets of relationships out of balance with the others? So maybe you made everyone in the party great friends with each other, but like those two characters are particularly great friends. You're gonna get punished for that, because that's seen as you leaving the other characters behind, even if you did really well with them.
Yeah.
So, like, it's a poorly explained system and not a great one when it functions, but I got the thresholds that should have given me the game's neutral ending. What I got was the game's bad ending, for no discernible reason.
Oh.
So what happened for me was, all three of my main characters were in a life or death situation. We're all gonna die, there's no way we're gonna get out of this one. The game faded to black, and without explaining in any way, shape, or form what happened, we then cut to, those two characters survived that situation, that one's dead. They died off screen. We're not going to explain how they died, we're not going to explain how those two survived. We did some numbers, the result didn't turn out right because there was a bug with the game. We decided they lived and they died off screen.
Uh-huh.
It's so unsatisfying. It is so unsatisfying to be in this like climactic big situation and then just fade to black. I guess they're alive and they're dead, and we're not going to address how or why. Because no actual things you chose to do in that last situation mattered. They can't go, oh, because you did this, you survived, and because you did that, you died. No, there's no rhyme or reason to it. They looked at a number and went, we need to contrive that they lived and they died. And, like, those two things really fucking put me off this game. It really soured my last impression, which is such a shame, because all the way throughout it, I thought it was funny, I thought it was sweet, it was progressive in a lot of aspects, it was well acted. I was really invested in these characters, and it just really fucking shat the bed at the end.
That's a shame.
In like, just a couple of ways. And it was only, like, the last, like, 45 minutes. The last 45 minutes did, like, 2 or 3 things that just really left me walking away going, oh, that's really disappointing.
That's a shame.
Yeah. What about you, Steph? What else have you played?
Right. I'm going to try and keep this brief. It's... Imagine everything I had to say about Sonic Frontiers, but all of it negative and so much more exhaustive. I'm not going to go into that much detail, but if you've been watching my last couple of live streams, you'll know I've been playing a game called The Last Oricru, which, in my opinion, is the worst Souls-like ever made. Certainly the worst one I've ever played. It's not the worst game I've ever played. I'll say it. Intellectually, I know it's not the worst game I've ever played, but when I'm playing it, emotionally, I feel like it's the worst game I've ever played. It is a shit fucking Souls-like. Glitchy as hell, like, constantly, like, doing things like falling through the floor. None of the torches in the game have any textures for fire effects, so they're all just, like, squares. All the torches just have, like, plumes of squares coming out of them. The combat system is a fucking joke. Let me explain how magic works. If you try and build a magic character as I started, you soon find out that you don't really get spells. You have the same equipment slots as someone who's doing a more melee-oriented character, and those are the only choices. Straightforward melee or magic. Because the enemy AI has no actual aggro, it just has a radius of when it activates and starts mindlessly attacking in your direction. There's no such thing as stealth or anything. They've got eyes in the back of their head, and they see you from, like, halfway across a city. So there's really only, do you want to hit it with swords or axes that use the same animation as the swords, because of course, or do you want to fling things from far away with magic? I opted for flinging before I realised how untenable it was and started the game from scratch. So like I said, you've only got these equipment slots. You have 2 slots for weapons, 2 slots for shields or spells or something I'll talk about in a minute. So what this means is you can have a staff or 2 staffs in your right hand, or choose between having a shield or a spell or, like, 2 spells. They are orbs that you equip in your shield slot. And the problem with that is, well, that's already a problem. But what makes it worse is you're only ever going to really have 1 spell equipped, because the other shield slot, and Christ, it's a shield slot. But as a mage, you have to put a certain melee weapon in one of those slots, in a slot you could put a spell in. Because mana doesn't regenerate. There are no such thing as mana potions. The only way to get your magic meter refilled is to stop firing your staff, because your staff uses up mana and stamina. You've got to stop using your spells and use a melee weapon to hit enemies, and that's how you regain your mana. Now bear in mind, magic is predominantly around ranged attacks, and ideally, you wouldn't be putting too much into stamina and health and stuff like that.
Yeah, you'd be a squishy person at a distance, picking people off, never getting close, you know?
The mana drainer weapon is the shortest range weapon in the game. So you've got to take your, ideally, ranged character into a range that's shorter than a melee build. in order to get magic back. And you've got to do this with a weapon that's in your fucking shield/spell slot. And it's a good idea to have a shield and a backup weapon for when you can't, necessarily do that. So my magic build, my entire suite of spells was a staff that shot fireballs. Because I had a shield that I could use to heal myself. It had a heal spell on it. So I had a shield I could heal with that took off a lot of mana. And then I couldn't have a spell in the other slot because I had to put a weapon in it rather than hold it in my weapon hand. And I could go into more detail on that, but suffice to say, and I had the community manager of this game in my Twitch chat trying to justify this shit. But I told them straight, your game has the stupidest magic system I've ever seen in a game. The outright stupidest. And then we get to melee attacks, which you can't judge the distance accurately with your attacks. The game's combat rules are for you, not for the game. For example, shields. If you block, you will take some damage. Additionally, every enemy above the most basic mook has a moveset that's 50% made up of attacks that just ignore your shield. They don't break your shield. They just deal full damage. And you keep your shield up. Enemies, after a combo, can instantly snap their shield back up, and can also do that while you attack them, because they can just ignore staggering. The game's mechanics are weighted in favour of the enemies. To an extreme degree. If you try and dodge, which eventually I realised shields were a trap, so I got a two-handed weapon and relied on dodging as much as I could, which turned a lot of combat into hit once, jump back. Hit once, jump back. Not very fun. Until I got further into the game, hours and hours later, to where I could finally stagger them to some degree. Didn't stop them from, blocking whenever they wanted. But I got a bit better. And then combat became a case of, can I hit them first before they hit me? So yeah, they abide by no rules. Anything with a shield is a fucking nightmare. Dodging, I can't trust, because half the time it will dodge you out of range, or it's so finicky it can dodge you into their attacks. And there are no iframes. There's no invincibility frames here. And here's how fucked up it is. The only place where they gave a fuck about balancing combat was the bosses, who do have better telegraphed attacks, who do, unlike the regular enemies who will just aggressively just swing at you non-stop. The bosses, because they gave a fuck about balance, have some openings for you to attack them. Consequently, the game's bosses are unilaterally the easiest enemies in the game. The easiest. It is so ass backwards. And yeah, combat has no weight to it, the sound effects are shit, the level design is insipid. There's so much more, but I realise I've been banging on for a long time, and I don't want to take up, any more time than I have to. But that's just a taste of it. That's just a taste of how bad it is. Nothing works quite right. That's before we get to the protagonist, who sounds like this. He sounds like if Danger Mouse was a bitch. He sounds like he went to private school and is now lobbying for the Conservative Party. He's so posh, and the game thinks it's funny. It thinks he's funny. It thinks its two rat puns are funny, because the game has, a couple of factions. This evil racist empire and the undertrodden rat people, the Ratkin. And they have two jokes. When they rise up, they have the Ratvolution, and instead of calling each other brothers, they call each other, God forgive me, Brathers. Brathers.
Oh.
I told that to Phoenix, who in 5 seconds flat said, Comrat was right there.
I'm sorry, I was muted. I have been yelling comrades since before. Oh my god.
I didn't yell it because I'm just in stunned silence.
Like, it was so obvious I was yelling it out of disdain for how bad it was.
I fit over half a dozen milk puns into one paragraph of the Vampire Survivors bestiary, not to put myself over. They came up with 2 rat puns.
You did really milk that.
I really did. It was utterly shameless. But they came up with 2 rat puns. Both terrible. Rat's all they did. And it is stunning. And like I said, this game thinks it's so fucking funny. And it thinks its protagonist is like a snarky wisecracker.
I'm sorry, did you say rats all they did? Like, did you
Yes.
slip? Oh, yes, okay. I wanted to make sure I caught and observed and pointed out the pun that you... Oh my god.
Thank you.
People need to hire us to write puns.
Right? I mean, Ponsol Games literally did.
Yeah.
But yeah, they think the protagonist is funny, and he sounds detestable. He's so whiny. He answers almost everything someone else says with sarcasm. Not good sarcasm, it's just like, oh yes, I almost died, but that's good, isn't it? Like, it's just brainless, fucking endless snark, but none of it witty. All of it whiny, coming from this, like, I've never heard a punchable voice before, but I want to punch that voice. It's unbelievable. And yet, and here's the kicker, it has one of the most impressive decision trees I've ever seen in a game.
Oh.
For this utter garbage. I thought they were bullshitting when they touted it on the game store page. But, like, it starts off with, like, you can choose to side with the rats or the evil empire. I wanted to side with the rats, but because I scrapped the first build because it was untenable, I thought, okay, I'll side with the empire just to see how different it is. And it is different. Like, the story is, like, completely different. It takes you to areas, the same areas. Like, you start in this monastery, you go to a fortress, you go to a city, but the enemy makeup, depending on your choices, is completely different. Parts of the map are completely different. Different streets might be blocked off, depending on who's in charge. And what's more than that is you then make choices within the choices. I sided with the Empire. I was challenged to fight the Ratkin General in single combat. Was given the choice to kill him there and then or spare him. I spared him. The Empire got pissed off, sent me to chase him down. I chased him down after spending hours in a fucking mine. But anyway, I chased him down and sided with him, and then joined the Ratkins. And then met another Ratkin who wanted peace instead of war, and so murdered the Ratkin General. I didn't realise it would lead to the Ratkin just being re-subjugated, but that's what happened. And so the Empire and the Ratkins both sort of liked me, which led to me going through areas that would otherwise be super combat heavy, but were blessedly boring instead because nothing was attacking me. And then I was introduced to the brother of the evil Empire's queen, who offered me the chance to side with him and murder her.
Huh.
So my protagonist not only sounds like a Tory, but acts like one. He has backstabbed everyone he's worked with. And I am genuinely impressed by that. By a game so bad that it is possibly number 1 on my shittiest games of this year list. Like, already. I've still got a couple months to go, but already. It is atrociously, shockingly, stunningly bad. And yet, this game came closer to realizing the promise of meaningful choices than any big mainstream game I've played. Utterly stunning. Utterly stunning. And that's the Last Oricru. I have talked so much, my voice has gotten hoarse. I really apologise for taking up so much time, but
No.
it's fascinating.
Yeah, we ready to move on to some newsy bits?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
We'll try and crack through these nice and quick. Conrad, I know you've seen this story. Steph, are you aware of Palmer Luckey having a news story this week? Please tell me you don't know.
I don't know.
Oh.
Let me try and remember who Palmer Luckey is.
Excellent.
Was he involved in VR?
He was involved in VR, and when it came out that he was giving large contributions to the Donald Trump campaign, he suddenly was a lot less popular.
Yes.
Yes. So he was one of the original co-founders of Oculus VR back in the day.
Right.
And,
yeah.
I'm so glad you don't know about this story, because I'm going to give you some context. I stumbled upon a blog post from Palmer Luckey, and I thought it was a fucking Hard Drive or Onion article.
Right. Oh, I can't wait for this.
And I, stopped reading halfway through because I thought it was too ridiculous to be real.
Okay.
And then I saw it on actual fucking websites. So, there's this anime called Sword Art Online
Okay.
about virtual reality headsets where it's the most immersive VR you've ever experienced. Oh no, now you've put the headset on. If you die in the game, you die for real. And if someone tries to take the headset off, you die. You gotta live in VR now, because there's a VR headset that's gonna murder you because you put it on. Palmer Luckey's obsessed with Sword Art Online.
Okay.
Like properly obsessed. Like, apparently the Oculus VR, the Oculus offices back in the day had a big mural from this anime. The mural got moved to Facebook when Facebook bought Oculus. So Palmer Luckey has invented his own version of the heads of a VR headset that kills you. If you die in the game, you die for real.
What?
Yep.
Involving head-mounted explosives.
What?
Yep.
And a rapid flashing pattern of red lights that occurs when you get a game over, and that triggers the explosives to go off and explode your brain.
What?
Yep. He did it. He made it.
Yep, he made it. He's so obsessed with his anime about you die in the VR, you die for real.
So he made a literal high-tech saw trap.
He made a literal high-tech saw trap.
That is so... Whoa.
Right. You see why I thought this was like a fucking exaggerated, not real thing when I read this, written by him, fucking thousands of words, ode to this anime that leads to the punchline of I've invented the VR headset where if you die in the game, you die for real.
Yeah. And yet, here's the real tragedy of this. If this got mass-produced,
yeah,
no matter how many people played it, no matter how many people fell victim to it, it still wouldn't kill as many people as Palmer Luckey has indirectly done by supporting the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. So let me just read to you some of this
nerve
fucking
gear.
thing. You're not even ready. Yeah, so Nerve Gear is the one in the anime. So
Yeah.
the idea of tying your real life to your virtual avatar has always fascinated me. Only the threat of serious consequences can make a game feel real to you and every other person in the game. The OQPNVG uses 3 explosive charge modules mounted to the headset, rather than a microwave emitter like in its fictional counterpart. When fired, the charges will destroy the brain of the user.
People thought Hideo Kojima years ago was off his fucking rocker when he suggested a game that corrupts the save file when you die in it and you can't ever play the game again.
Yeah.
People thought that was wacky and out there, and he never even got round to making it.
You've not even heard my personal favourite part of this yet.
Okay.
Which is when he's talking about the fictional version from the anime, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have the quote in front of me. In the world of Sword Art Online, you die in the game, you die for real. But also, it's the most immersive virtual reality experience you've ever experienced. It's so real you can't discern it from real life.
Okay, but we don't have that. What we have is the helmet that blows up your head.
And that's what I'm getting to, is that Palmer Luckey has the audacity to say, we're not quite there yet, but we are halfway there. We've not yet made the part where it's the most immersive VR in the world, but we have made the bit that kills you. As if that's the halfway point.
Bit right. That's 50% of the point of it, so long as it kills people, please.
He explicitly says we're halfway there, as if putting some explosives on the headset are halfway there.
So those are the two most important things. The two key features are it must be indiscernible from real life, and it must be able to kill you. And we have achieved one of the two goals, therefore we are 50% of the way there, irrespective of how complex the other goal is.
Yeah, there were two things to do when we did one of them. We're 50% there. Also, to get into, like, the serious side of it, he does mention that the explosive charges on the headset are usually used in a different project, which, as has been pointed out by many, is likely referring to his work on military weapons.
Mm-hmm.
He just borrowed some explosives from a military contract that he has to put on a fucking VR headset.
Okay, but now someone should let Palmer know that you got to write that off on your taxes differently because it's for personal use. You can't be using business assets for personal use.
Yeah. So we got two more bits of this story before we finish.
Oh, Jesus.
Fucking hell.
He has stated he has plans to add anti-tamper mechanisms that make it impossible to remove or destroy the headset.
Then can we put it on him? Then and only then will we put it on him.
Well, see,
it is a saw trap.
I mean, look, we've got one more aspect which kind of ties into that.
Yeah.
He hasn't tried it on himself yet.
No.
He admits he hasn't brought up the courage to try it on, thanks to, and I quote, a huge variety of failures that could occur and kill the user at the wrong time.
Thank God you said that hypothetically,
Yeah.
because when I heard a huge amount of failures, I thought he'd been trying this on people.
No.
Oh, that's coming. Don't worry, that's coming.
Yeah.
So, like, the problem isn't that it could kill the user, it's that it could kill them when they hadn't earned being killed by dying in the game. Like, that's the last thing you want, is the murder headset to murder you when you're doing quite well at fucking Overwatch or whatever.
I'm
so glad you didn't know.
Listeners, if you work in tech and your boss, or the person who's contracted you, keeps saying, right, this is going to kill someone though, right? Stop working for them. Stop working. Don't work for the man who keeps circling back to how the product you're working on is going to kill someone for fun. Fuck me. Oh my god. That's incredible.
I've been reminded of a tweet from about a year ago that was someone being like, sci-fi writer, my cautionary tale of the Torment Nexus, this dystopian future, and then tech companies being like, yes, we finally invented the Torment Nexus from your favorite book.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking...
Well, that's the problem. So much like speculative science fiction that warns of a grim future is looked at by corporations who think, wouldn't that be fun? I mean, I've always said, like Weyland-Yutani is real now. The fucking corporatocracy we saw in RoboCop is real now. We've reached the point where we're seeing various right-wingers argue about like military veterans being the predominant source of teachers in schools. We've reached fucking Starship Troopers. That's where we're at.
It is where we're at.
We're making headsets that blow people's heads up.
Yeah.
Why did no one at least do the Demolition Man headset? That makes another kind of head explode.
Right now, this is only an art piece that exists in Palmer Luckey's office, I guess, but I really hope we live to see the day where we get the news story that Palmer Luckey died because he strapped himself into his own tamper-proof VR headset and then was bad at video games and his head exploded. Like, I don't want to wish that against anyone.
And he was wanking when he did it.
If you invent a headset that's like, if you're bad at video games, we will kill you, that is the only satisfying way your life can ever end.
Yeah.
I need you to die because you died in the game and died for real now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't wish that outcome on anybody, but I also didn't wish anybody to do this.
Yeah.
So clearly what I want isn't being considered.
Yeah.
I just like the idea of like, I love the idea of a headstone that just says, you know, rest in peace, whoever. Fucking casual.
Yeah.
It would put the oh, that's another good one. Justin, feel free to use this one or the other one, whichever one's funny. And both of you pretend like this is the first time I've done it. He's going to keep all of this in, but it really puts the casual in casualty.
Oh!
Thank you. Stephanie awaits their praise.
So let's rattle off a couple of other
Yeah.
news stories. We got more Activision-Blizzard King updates because of course we fucking do.
We were having such a nice, fun podcast.
I know. So, Activision-Blizzard King, ABK, we've got a few stories this week about them dragging their feet with union stuff and trying to stop unions forming and trying to stop having negotiations with unions, because of course they are. We talked recently about the fact that Blizzard's Blizzard Albany, who the QA team working on a lot of Diablo projects, won the right to form a union, and ballots were sent out, and the results of the union election were supposed to be announced on the 18th of November. Activision Blizzard has now entered a motion to impound all the ballots because they basically are trying to argue, yeah, but it's such a small group of people, they shouldn't be making decisions that impact a larger set of people.
The same argument they've been making for months.
Yeah, the same argument this small group of executives running the company have made.
So they're now, like, the votes have, like, lots of the votes are in, and they're trying to go, yeah, but you shouldn't be allowed to announce whether they voted to unionize because we want them to not unionize still.
Oh, and if you announce what the decision is, then they'll have unionized.
Basically.
It's almost like an admission of defeat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing they're saying is that, like, on paper what they're saying is that they claim that any announcement of the results would prejudice future results. Yeah, it would tell people you have the power to unionize.
Yeah.
So that's happening.
I forgot to check. We've got the stuff about Bobby on the docket, right? What came out about him?
I don't know you're being vague.
Let's just say I'm curious to see if I criticised Bobby for this, would the same people attacking me in defence of Scott Cawthon get pissed at that?
Why don't you tell us what this story is? Jump into the story now while we're on Activision Blizzard King stuff.
Basically, I'll let you go over the details, but Bobby Kotick, and we already knew, like, he's made political donations to Republicans in the past, but we're talking about explicit, like,
Aye.
vote denialists.
Yes.
Like the voter fraud allegers, proper Trumpists, and anti-abortion politicians. Like, not just, like, shitty Republicans, but, like, the creme de la shit. Very much the exact same situation as Scott Cawthon, and I'm really curious if I did a video on it, and I may do. Would I get the same heat? Would I get the Gamers TM finally standing for Bobby Kotick? To be consistent, they'd have to.
So Axios reported a couple of days ago that Bobby Kotick has been donating to, for example, Mike Garcia, I believe is one of them, who is a pretty bad Republican politician. Yeah, so apparently he's donated $50,000 to Mike Garcia, which is legally the largest amount that he can donate, and Bobby Kotick notoriously has a history of making donations through other companies to get around that, so chances are he's probably donated a lot more. Garcia is, like, big time MAGA devotee. He's one of the people who, like, is the election got stolen, voted to object to Biden getting elected despite the votes. Like, he was one of the few politicians who tried to refuse to certify the votes the way that he was supposed to. He protested Joe Biden's election, and very specifically has given what has been described as tacit support to an insurrection. So, like, yeah, pretty fucking bad person to throw money at. He opposed Trump's impeachment. He was a big proponent of taking away abortion rights.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those types that's like the FBI's investigation of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago property was literally tyranny of a majority right now that is acting like a Third Reich. He fucking compared it to the Third Reich.
Which is ironic for the Republicans, who are taking so much inspiration from them.
Yes, he is literally compared going and getting illegal documents that shouldn't have been in Mar-a-Lago to acting like the Third Reich.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bobby Kotick gave him 50 fucking grand.
So Bobby Kotick is an abusive, hateful monster. We knew that before this. You know, this is the guy that once left a message for one of his assistants threatening to have them killed.
Yeah.
Which isn't even, like, disputed allegation. That's something Activision has admitted to and tried to brush it off with, oh, well, you know, Japes didn't really mean it. He regrets it. But, like, he literally has threatened his own assistants with death. Faces allegations for, you know, sexually harassing a server on a plane. Heavily alleged that he hid stories of abuse from Activision's own board. And all sorts. Like, not only... Like, we all know about the horrific abuse at Activision. We pretty much know by now that he not only covered for it, but took part in it.
Yeah.
He's a fucking monster, and this just adds to it. It doesn't prove he's a monster, the proof's already there, but there's no justifying this. And this is something I mentioned Scott Cawthon, and obviously there's some bitter enmity between me and Cawthon's army of simps. Just recently, someone was attacking me online over it. Like, it's been years, but they've not let it go. It's popular belief among the Five Nights fan base, or at least the really shitty sector of it, that I cost Scott Cawthon his career, which, considering I inspired Five Nights at Freddy's, you know, make 'em break 'em. But I didn't. He was criticised and then took his ball and went home because he didn't want to walk back on donating to Republican politicians who actively fight against human rights, who fight against abortion, who support Donald Trump's white nationalism, who campaign against abortion rights, who are anti-LGBTQ+. And you know, speaking as a trans person, and, you know, Laura obviously is trans, and we're both, you know, pretty fucking queer as well. I have had to spend the last few months of this year watching with horror as bill after bill after bill is introduced by the GOP aimed at destroying trans people's lives, aimed at the outright genocide that myself and many other people have warned about for years. Over 100 anti-trans bills introduced. You get places like Florida where they have now stripped healthcare from trans youth. And they're starting to look at not just that, but like raising legal transition treatment to the age of 21 because they believe the brain isn't fully developed yet, even though they think it's developed enough to join the military.
Oh, no, that 21 number, there's already numbers higher than that. I've seen 25. That number purely exists because they're trying to they're trying to have their fucking cake and eat it too. They're trying to do the thing of not let people transition until they've fully gone through first puberty, and then go, anyone who looks like they went through first puberty isn't trans and isn't real and shouldn't be allowed in spaces. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing
aimed at, you know, socially eradicating us, legislatively destroying us, medically, and you know, just recently the Florida Health Board, when they ruled against, when they they bust in gender criticals from other states, used doctors whose fields are not in any of this, not in trans healthcare, or anything like that, and made stuff up, like just made stuff up. And when they were told that their decision to strip trans people of healthcare would lead to so many deaths, Florida's health board's response was, that's fine. That's fine. Now, I say all this because I don't care what the excuse for Bobby Kotick would be. I don't care. There's only one excuse that ever gets used, which is, well, I'm sure he's got no problem with trans, with gay people, with women. He's supporting them for their, financial policies or what good they do in other areas for the economy, etc. Nah, you can't pick and choose this shit. If you're voting for fascist monsters who want to strip people of their human rights, I don't care what else they're doing. I don't give a fuck. It just so happens that the Republicans are not doing anything good for the economy either, but I don't care about that. And this goes back to Scott Cawthon as well. I don't care that he claims to be pro-LGBTQ+. I don't care that he made a token donation or two elsewhere. He supported people who want me and my people dead. Dead.
Yep.
Gone. Buried. We're at the point now where GOP politicians are arguing not just against medical transition, but social transition, where they want to inspect the genitals of children to make sure none of them are trans before they do sports. That's where we're at. We're at outright plans for eradication, and if you support those people financially, you have no excuse, and you will have blood on your hands.
Yeah.
Bobby Kotick has no excuse. He is a monster.
All very well said. I want to very quickly add, I know I don't talk as much about this stuff on this podcast because a decade into being an out trans person on the internet, it's fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
I'm doing stuff behind the scenes. I'm working, trying to fight the good fight, but yeah, it's fucking exhausting. And yeah, anyone who's going and putting money into pockets of people doing this shit is fucking monstrous.
Yeah. And for years, trans people have been told that they're imagining it, that they're being over dramatic, that they're exaggerating how bad it is. But if you've not seen what's going on,
yeah,
and clearly if you think we're exaggerating, you haven't even seen a fraction of it. Every single day,
yeah,
a news outlet posts another anti-trans hit piece. Every day, it's either libel against, groomer libel, accusing us of being paedophiles, making stuff up about, oh my god, they're performing gender confirmation surgery on children. Just made up stuff. Every day, it's either that, or it's J.K. Rowling said something monstrous again, or the BBC are lying about trans people and had a bunch of cis people on to discuss our right to exist without feeling the need to ask a single one of us. It's the GOP and the Conservative Party promising to police where we can go, police what kind of treatment we have. We've got the new Prime Minister of the UK currently talking about stripping trans people from the Equality Act, from human rights protections that are enshrined and supposed to be for everyone in this country.
Yeah.
And I see this every day. Trans people see this every day.
Yeah.
Multiple times a day. For years. And if you've not seen even a fraction of it, you can't comprehend what it's like. You can't. It's very easy for you to tell us we're exaggerating when you don't have to deal with it.
I'm gonna suggest we change the topic to another news story. There is no easy segue away from this, and I want to be really clear. I'm not moving away from this because I don't think it's important. I promise you that is the case.
No, the podcast has been so fun.
Yeah.
And I understand that I have perhaps brought the mood down.
I am very aware that these are all very important things to talk about, but I'm also very aware that if we don't move off this topic, like, we could emotionally spiral on this for a while,
Yes.
and I think that it's probably not good.
I've said what I wanted to say.
Fuck Bobby Kotick. So yeah, I will very quickly get the other couple of news stories out of the way. I might skip a couple. I'll try and get through the news quick. So we got the summary of the first day of negotiations between the Game Workers Alliance Union and ABK, Activision-Blizzard King. Activision-Blizzard refused to bargain during the day unless the union paid for the missed time of workers. So the union gladly did so in order to attempt to get the company to bargain in good faith, to get rid of that excuse not to bargain. Activision-Blizzard then refused to respond to one of the very basic demands made, that was that Activision-Blizzard should honour all outstanding bargaining unit employees, so union members' requests for remote work to be made permanent. Basically, non-union members who have asked to have remote working become permanent have all been greenlit for that. Union employees have all had it refused. So that it's like, hey, can we make the union employees get the same? Activision Blizzard indicated that they would not respond on that day of negotiations. When repeatedly reminded that non-union employees have had that honoured, they just kept refusing to debate it on that day. Then, the union reminded Activision Blizzard that restoration of the status quo, which is required by law, which includes things like payment of missed wages, missed wage increases for union employees, should happen immediately. Legally, they have to be given the same as everyone else who isn't in the union. Activision Blizzard did not respond. The union proposed that during the term of the union contract, Activision Blizzard could not make any changes that disadvantage members of the union in any way. The company said it did not accept the proposal. The union proposed protection for employees who require reproductive healthcare services. In the light of the reversal of Roe v. Wade, the company deferred any discussion of that. The union proposed remote work options be guaranteed contractually. Activision Blizzard did not engage in discussion and deferred it for later. The union proposed a 10% wage increase for union employees, and nationwide for all QA testers regardless of whether they're in the union. The company did not respond. It goes on like this for some time. Very reasonable demands, most of which are, hey, put us in line with workers who did not join the union, as you are legally obligated to. And Activision Blizzard just sat there going, no, we'll talk about it later, no, talk about it later, no, for the whole day. Yeah. There's going to be years of this. Activision Blizzard trying to fight tooth and nail to not respect the rights of union members, so that's fun. Very quick. Not much to add. It's what we expected, really.
Just an evil company. They're just evil.
And then we got a couple of not Activision Blizzard stories to quickly hit on. This is just like a little sucky story. Riot Games admits that they've just introduced their first black gay playable character in League of Legends. Riot Games have admitted the character is going to be censored to remove references to them being gay in certain markets.
Then it's meaningless.
Yeah, Zero sticking to their guns. They're gonna remove all references to lover and partner in countries with poor LGBTQ plus rights.
It's bluster, it's tokenism, it's insincere, it's meaningless.
Exactly, it's fucking pandering.
Fuck them. Fuck them.
I've got a nice story to end on, but we do have one more industry being bullshit story to quickly touch on. Naoki Yoshida, who is the director for Final Fantasy XVI that is coming up, he was interviewed by IGN asking for comment on the fact that the latest trailer for Final Fantasy XVI, and in fact all of the trailers, have shown mostly white characters with basically zero racial diversity. And he was asked about it, and his response was fucking mealy as anything. It was a weaselly fucking answer that is... It's the kind of answer you expect when you go, hey, why does your world have no fucking diversity? I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it basically summarizes down to, well, our fantasy world, while not technically being medieval Europe, is based on medieval Europe, and we thought that it would be historically fucking accurate to just have white people, because there weren't other people in medieval Europe, and we think that actually it should be about the characters' personalities and not about their races, and there's geological, technological, and geopolitical constraints of this setting. It's never going to be as diverse as modern day Earth.
It's a lie. It's a lie. When you do that, it's a lie.
Yeah.
In medieval times, there were plenty of people of other races. It wasn't all just white people. And I saw it said, I never forget who, I never remember who, because I always just see them as random comments on Twitter. But I did see someone talk about this where they just said, like, from now on, they are going to assume that any developer that wants to make, that's claiming they're making historically accurate medieval themed games, they're just going to assume that that's code for we don't want to put black people in our game.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was historical setting, blah, blah, blah. The other one was, it can be challenging to assign distinct ethnicities to either antagonist or protagonist without triggering audience preconceptions. Which sounds like either we didn't want to get called racist by having non-white people as villains, or we didn't want to make a hero a black person in case someone assumed they were a villain because of that. It's fucking bullshit.
They just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, didn't want to have black people in the game. Just fucking say that. But a nice thing to end on. We talked a while ago about Street Fighter VI having new control schemes designed for making the game more accessible for more people. Like, there is a modern control scheme that makes it play a lot more like Smash Brothers, for example. For local play, they've introduced another new control scheme that only requires one hand and the use of 4 face buttons, and will automate in local play against other people you sat in the living room with. Positioning your character at the right distance, facing them the right way round. You will only have to button mash. Do I want to be doing kick? Do I want to be doing punch? Do I want to be doing super? Mash the button. Cool. I am glad there are more ways to play this game being introduced. They really seem to be going all in on trying to come up with other ways to engage with fighting game mechanics. And, like, I think modern mode's a really good shout. This new button mash heavy mode, great. Make the game as easy to play in non-tournament settings as possible so that people have choices.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see.
Yeah, I've said before, like based on what you've said, I'm keen to look at this.
Yeah, it's all looking pretty promising.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's everything for this week. Should we do a wrap up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. We've had a very lengthy podcast.
Yeah.
Almost 2 hours. Sorry I contributed to a lot of that runtime.
That's okay. There were lots of things to say.
I thoroughly enjoyed today's episode.
Yeah.
Obviously, it got a bit grim, but
A little bit.
that happens when we talk about the news because we live in a grim world and we've got a grim industry and we try not to. I don't want to do it all the time, but anyway, I know someone who does things a lot, and her name is Laura Kate Dale.
Me.
And I think we got her on the pod. Yeah, it is you.
Yeah,
yes,
it's me,
yes. Could you tell us
yeah.
about it?
Oh, well, I mean, Laura K. Buzz is where you'll find me on all the places. Just search Laura K. Buzz, you'll find me everywhere. Every week I do accessibility-related videos on YouTube. This week's is about high contrast mode in the Saints Row reboot, which is a game that's a couple of months old now, but it is the first game I've really seen outside of Sony's titles in the AAA space trying to have an implementation of high contrast mode. They do some really interesting things with that. Go check that out. That'll be up on Friday. Obviously, go check out the Jimquisition this week, which is in large part about a series of emails I received trying to get me to post undisclosed advertorial, which several places ran. Go check that out. Patreon, that's the one that pays the bills. Patreon.com/LauraKBuzz. If you like the work I do and want to support it, that's the place to go. Conrad, you're here as well. What do you do on the internet?
Oh shit, I am here. You can find me on Twitter at Conrad or no. Sorry, my brain. I didn't expect to have to talk. You can find me on Twitter at Conrad Zimmerman. Also there on Instagram. You can follow my cat, Potato Wand, at One Eyed Potato. I make anti-capitalist propaganda at pinfultruth.com. I do some audiobooks at conradreads.com, and everything I do gets supported through Patreon at patreon.com/fistshark. And you know who else has a Patreon? James Stephanie Sterling.
Hello. Yeah, I got a Patreon, patreon.com/Jimquisition. That supports the Jimquisition, the video game reviews that I've been doing on thejimquisition.com, and this podcast. Do check that out. I've got a Signalis review on thejimquisition.com right now. I also stream, usually Mondays, Wednesdays, and sometimes at weekends, at Twitch TV/Jim Sterling. What else? Wrestling dates. This weekend, the 12th of November, I will be in Newcastle for Avant-Garde Wrestling. Then on November 19th, it will be Spectrum Wrestling, Phoenix and my own promotion, in Sheffield again. You can get tickets for that at buytickets.at/Spectrum Wrestling. Then the very next day in Leicester, November 20th, I will be at Wrestling Resurgence. I've got some... the postponed show, True Grit, was going to be on last Friday. That's now on January 14th in Leeds. I've got some other dates coming up that aren't official yet. And then February 5th in Manchester, Sovereign Pro Wrestling, where I will be fighting goddamn Scotty 2 Hottie. Yeah, that's it. Thank you all so much for listening. Certainly got your money's worth this week. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.